Okay, so we are continuing with the story of the king and the emperor, and a little bit of background. A little bit of background. This is a story, a love story between the neshama and the Torah, between our soul and the Torah, and how they are eventually during the course of our lives, how they're going to connect, how they're going to be able to find each other, and how that's going to bring them satisfaction, how that's going to bring them a fulfillment, and how ultimately that's going to bring together all of the higher worlds, and how that's going to be like mamish, the highest tikkun, what he calls the tikkun ha'elyon of Kudsha Brichu Shchinte. So we have the daughter of the emperor, that is the soul, and the son of the king, who is the Torah. And we discussed last time at length that even though the emperor had originally agreed that he wants to make a shidduch with his daughter to this young prince, but when it came really to action, when it came to real time, so he had cold feet and he didn't want it. And we discussed what that means, that like the Ein Sof, that Hashem in his infinite existence, so like it actually doesn't make sense. That who could be good enough for my daughter? How could that my neshama, that our neshama is a chelek elokami ma'mamish, our neshama is a piece of Ein Sof, it's a piece of the infinite divinity, and how could anything be good enough? How could there be any power in the world, any directing force, any husband that's going to be able to make her feel cherished, to make her feel expressed, to make her feel that she's where she's supposed to be? That even the Torah, even the Torah, how could the Torah express, how can the Torah express the infinite value and light of the soul? And that's the problem. That's the problem that the Ein Sof had, that Hashem had in his infinite existence, which led him to not want to go on with the shidduch, to not want to go on with his daughter actually marrying this boy. So what happened? So she says, even so, we have to elope, and we discussed last week how that sometimes when Hashem says no, He really wants you to fight harder. Like that's really His way of saying that this is such a hard test that the only way that you're going to pass is if you won't take no for an answer. Okay? And that was really the soul's job, the soul's mission, the soul's test at this point. That even though it appears that the source of all truth is saying that you shouldn't do this, but it was her test to say that no, there's nothing that's going to hold me back. I need to be there, or else just my life is not a life. Okay? No, like lahavdil, like even though there's a mitzvah of respecting your parents, but the halacha dictates clearly that you're not supposed to listen to your parents when it's a life-changing decision. That your life is in your own hands, and if your parents want you to marry the person that you don't think you should marry, if they want you to take a job that you're not supposed to, that you know is not the right job for you, if they want you to live in a country that is not the right country for you, if you to be in a community that's not the right community for you. So like people go through life thinking, like, I remember when we were speaking about this, that I can just excuse myself. I can just we're talking about listening to rabbis, that people that ask shilas to rabbis, and they think that yeah, I'm good. My rabbi told me that that's what I should do, so I'm good. So it's okay that I would beat my kid up every time he messed up, because my rabbi said that that's good. I asked a question, I asked a shaila, and my rabbi said that yeah, we believe in hitting hard, and we kicked him out of the house. I know, yeah, my wife didn't want, but we asked the rabbi. The rabbi said we should kick him out of the house, and it's a big bluff. Like there's no such heter. There's no such heter called the I asked my rabbi heter. If you're doing something if you're doing something which is evil, so just because your rabbi said to do it, it doesn't get you off the hook. And so like similar in a similar vein, when it comes to when it comes to listening to your parents, so the fact that your parents want you to do something, and there's a mitzvah to respect your parents, so that's never an excuse to make a life mistake, right? So that's because ultimately it's our life. The mitzvah of respecting your parents really means to be nice to them, to help them, to when they need, if they when they get old, when they need help walking places, when they need help doing shopping, to help get them dressed. Like that's mamish what to serve them food. Like it's the mitzvah of respecting your parents is really about helping them in ways that they need. When they want to control your life, and you know that that's not what I should be doing, so then there's no mitzvah to allow your parents to control your life. Okay? So, that's lahavdil, lahalev, a million havdalas. But when we know that this is something that our soul needs, so it says the fact that it appears that Hashem is saying that no, you're not allowed to do this. So it could be it's really a test. It could be, and that's the case over here. That she knew deep down that this is what I need to know. And Rabbi Nachman in the storyline explains that the truth was that that's really his original desire. That his original plan was actually that his daughter should marry this boy. Meaning that when he was thinking more clearly, so to speak, when things were less complicated, so then he actually knew that the way to do this was actually that they should be married. So this is why they decided to elope. They decided to go against the better judgment of the emperor, the infinite king, and they decided that they're going to go. So they continued to sail, and eventually they wanted to come to the shore. And they reached the shore where there was a forest, and they entered it. The emperor's daughter took off the ring and gave it to him, and she went to sleep there. When the king saw her stirring, he laid the ring next to her. Afterwards they rose and returned to the ship. Okay, so this is all that's happening in this forest. That's that they come to the forest, and what happens in the forest? That she wants to go to sleep. So because she wants to go to sleep, so she takes off the ring. Okay, so going to sleep, this is symbolic of not being so present. In the story of the lost princess, so the princess is always warning the viceroy that the most important thing is not to fall asleep, not to be asleep. That people are capable of sleep living, of just going through life in a non-conscious way, in a way that they're not really there. They're not really living life in a real way, in a mindful way, and that's called being asleep. And the most important thing is not to be asleep, not to be asleep in this world. So part of her falling asleep was that she couldn't take this. This ring, commitment is not something I can take in my life right now. I just need to be asleep. I just need to, it's bothering my sleep. The fact that I look down and see this ring on my finger, and it reminds me that I have responsibilities, so I'm just not able to sleep. Not able to sleep because of these responsibilities. So because she needs to sleep, so she needs to take off this ring. Okay, and this is a very sad thing. That this connection that she had to the love of her life, this connection that she had to the son of the king, that she had been dreaming of, she had been pining over him, and she had been sick from love with him, and she knew that this is really the secret to her future, but because she's asleep, so just she can't take it. And it's so tragic. It's so tragic that people that know deep down that something is good for them, but just because they're just not in a good headspace, so they sabotage their life in horrible ways. And so that's what happens over here. This taking off the ring, the ring representing her deepest connection to the Torah. And we said that in Kabbalah this is a reference to something called the Keter Torah. The Keter Torah is the crown of the Torah, meaning something that this deep connection, this deep attraction that we have to Torah, that even when a person is not learning Torah, even when a person is not fulfilling Torah, but there's this like innate draw we have to the Torah. That's the Keser Torah. That's what this ring represents, and she couldn't have it. Like as long as she's sleepy, so she can't take this connection. It's too. Right? Yeah, too intense. So then what happened? Then the king's son saw that she was stirring, that she was starting to wake up. So he gave her another chance. He put the ring next to her. And afterwards, they rose and returned to the ship. Meanwhile, the emperor's daughter remembered that she had forgotten the ring, so she sent him back for it. That's a very girlfriendy thing to do. Right? Oh, I forgot my. Could you go get it? and so it wasn't so smart because it was her ring. I guess part of the reason why she was sending him is because he was the last one to have it. Like she did give it back to him, so she felt it was like his responsibility. She felt it was his responsibility to go make sure that this connection takes place. But he went back and he couldn't find the place. So he went to another place and he still couldn't find the ring. And he went from place to place looking for it until he became lost. And he couldn't find his way back. And then she went to look for him and she also lost her way. So he continued on. As he continued on, he became more and more lost. Okay, so they both got completely lost on this shore, in this forest, and and they're looking for the ring, and they're never going to find the ring. Okay, when we follow the story until the end, so there's actually the last we ever hear about this ring. Okay, and this deep connection, which was expressed in this ring, so it was actually lost forever. Okay? This is a reference to what's called the Shvirat HaLuchot, that the breaking of the tablets, the breaking of the two luchas, that Hashem gave us this ring. Hashem gave us this deep connection to the Torah that was in the luchas. It says in many midrashim that when Hashem was giving us the two luchos, so he was betrothing us, and that was actually a wedding ring that he was making us his bride. And that actually didn't happen. The Moshe actually broke these tablets, and and the Chazal have very interesting things to say about the difference between the first tablets and the second tablets, first luchas and the second luchas. It says that if Moshe wouldn't have broken the luchas, then every time we would learn Torah, so we would never forget it. What does that mean? What does that mean? We would never forget our learning. It means that if the Torah would have been given to us, just in such a pure way, in such a directly from God way, so then it would have pierced our soul in such an intense way that our soul would never ever forget it. What's the difference between the first luchas and the second luchas? The difference is that the first luchas was completely the work of God. That God just carved out the luchas himself. The second luchas is that Moshe had to carve out the tablets. That he was the one that chiseled it by Yifsol, that he chiseled out from the sapphire to make these luchas. The first luchas was purely from Hashem. So the difference is that the tablets represents the paper. The tablets is the thing that the writing is being written on. Okay, so it's a metaphor for our hearts. There's a pasuk in Mishlei, Kasvem al luach libacha, that you should write the words of Torah. Al luach, it even uses the same word. Write the words of Torah on the tablet of your heart. That we, like Hashem asks us to write Torah on our heart, to make sure that Torah is engraved in our heart. So the heart that's the thing that the Torah is written on. That's the paper, so to speak. So in the first luchos, so Hashem was creating the paper. Hashem was creating the thing that the Torah is supposed to stick to. That was also from Hashem. Whereas in the second luchos, so we had to prepare the vessels. We're the ones who had to show up and say, Hashem, here, we're ready. Write on us. Write on me. But our paper is only as good as we're able to make it. And we're just these little humans. We're just these, we're trying our hardest. But as much as we want to present ourselves to Hashem in a way that, yeah, I'm ready. Teach me. But we're not 100% there. Our minds are scattered, and we're thinking about other things, and we don't really, really want. We just we sort of want, and and there's the paper that we're giving is the Chazal have this metaphor in Pirkei Avos that there's the difference between learning when you're a child and learning when you're older. That when you're learning with as a child, it's like you're writing on crisp and crispy new white paper. And when you learn when you're learning when you're old, when you learn when you're old, it's like you're writing on paper which is 100 years old. It's not as neat. It's it doesn't stick as well. It's a little bit fuzzy, and it just doesn't come out so well. that when it's a known fact. The Gemara discusses it as well. It's called Girsa D'Yankusa. Girsa D'Yankusa means the things that you learned when you were a child. The things that you learn when you're young, these stick forever. They stick forever. I know this for a fact. I literally know the Gemaras that I learned 25 years ago. I remember better than things I learned last week. The things that, sometimes I'll be learning with my son, and I'll remember this, the Tzai says in Siman Shin and Ches, and I remember numbers and pages and of things I learned 25 years ago, and but the things I learned last week I literally forgot. It goes to when you're this is the difference in the paper. This is the difference in the vessel that the writing is coming down onto, and so when God was making the paper, so then it was going to be there forever. When the entire process, when God was giving us luchas, so that meant that it's coming, that our connection with the Torah is coming completely from God, independent of how much we're ready. He was going to just he's going to just wire us, just given your brains to the technician, and then he's just going to just program your brain, put in some new hardware, and now you're good. Now you have the newest updated version of the Torah, and you come out and start talking, and that's what we missed out on, and that was the plan on Luchos Rishonos. That was the plan of the first Luchos, and because Moshe broke those Luchos, so from then we don't remember everything that we learned. Because Moshe broke this Luchos, because it needs to come from us, because our connection with Torah needs to be something that we prepare, so that's why we forget. Okay, and so this is a lost opportunity. It was lost for a reason. It was lost because we weren't ready, because we weren't worthy, because of the golden calf, whatever. And so obviously Hashem thought that this was the way that it needed to work out. That if our connection to Torah would have been such that we would have just learned and never forgotten, so then maybe it wouldn't have been so worthwhile. And our whole connection to Torah is actually more special because we have to work so hard. right? Which is obviously true. And that's why this ring that he gives her, that she actually loses, so it makes the relationship so much more meaningful. Like the fact that if she would have had this ring forever, so then her connection to Torah would have been eternal. Then it would have been okay. There's no turning back. There's no such thing as just forgetting about it. There's no such thing as not connecting. There's that our connection to Torah we would learn something, and we would immediately internalize it. We would immediately implement it into our lives, and it wouldn't be. It would just, our connection with Torah would have just be that. Okay, yeah, teach me. I'm there. And there wouldn't be this process, this hard process of like getting it from our head to our heart, to getting it like that long journey from knowing something in our brains to being able to really implement it into our lives. So that whole journey wouldn't have existed if we would have had the first luchos. So this is like it's something that we mourn, right? We mourn this on Shavas B'Tammuz, and the 17th of Tammuz. So this is why we're mourning. We're mourning the fact that that Moshe broke the luchos, and we're mourning this disconnect between us and the Torah. That from then on, it was something that didn't just stick. It was something that needs to constantly be reviewed, and it's hard to grasp, it's hard to retain, and if you don't keep to it, so you get out of practice, and so it makes you wonder what is actually deeper. What is actually deeper? Is it deeper to have? Is it better to have a relationship that you're stuck together forever? Or is it better to have a relationship that you need to constantly be reminding yourself, or constantly be replenishing yourself and reigniting yourself? So that the Luchos Rishonos was a relationship that once we would be connected to Torah, it would be with us forever. And the Luchos Shnia says that our connection to Torah needs to constantly be revived, constantly be replenished, constantly be reignited. And so it is tragic, but there's also a nice side to it, and that is that it requires constant consciousness. It requires constant mindfulness, constant connection, constant feeding ourselves, constant being active in connecting. I once said that's why like there's a difference between Judaism and Christianity regarding divorce. That in Christianity you're not allowed to get divorced. So in Judaism, obviously you're allowed to get divorced. Like there's a pressure in the Torah of getting divorced. So it could be that the reason why the Torah puts divorce is there is just for those cases that like shouldn't have happened. That like there's always going to be mistakes, but I was thinking that it could be that the Torah puts divorce for everybody. That if there wouldn't be divorce, then you would be in a relationship because you're stuck together. And the fact that I could divorce, so that makes it that every day that I'm married by choice. I'm not stuck. I'm not stuck to anything. I'm here because I want to be here. And there's something much more meaningful of the fact that I'm here because I want to be here than if I would be stuck. So I think on a very deep level, it's like once again it is tragic. It is tragic that our relationship with the Torah was damaged as such that we didn't have that relationship of Luchos Rishonos, that we would just be connected forever and ever. But there's also something beautiful in the fact that now, because we have to constantly reconnect ourselves to Torah, so now we're never stuck to Torah. So when we're with Torah, we're with Torah because we want to be with Torah. And there's something more sweet about that. So this is what happens that they lost the ring. Okay, so now lost the ring, and we said that she sends him, please find the ring to me. Okay, so she puts the responsibility on him. She puts the responsibility on the Torah. She says, Torah, find me. Torah, find me. And you have people. We have people that do this. Like that they care about Torah. Like they care about Torah enough to show up. They care enough to show up, but once they show up, so they're like, okay, let's hear what you've got to say. Let's see if you can impress me. Let's see if you can convince me. I was like I've been okay that I'm off the derech for the past 5 years, but every once in a while I have a regret or so. So no, let's hear what you got to say. No, get me. And so this is putting the responsibility on the Torah. This is exactly what she's doing. She's saying that it was hard enough for me to show up. Appreciate the fact that I showed up. Should be rolling out the red carpet that I showed up to yeshiva. Who would have imagined I would ever be here? And so now it's your turn. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. He tries to find the ring, but it doesn't work, and it can't work. It can't work. The Torah is not interested in going to impress people, is going to convince people, and he doesn't find it. He doesn't find it, and and so he gets lost. He's looking for. Now, why can't he find it? What's it mean that the Torah is looking for the ring? The Torah. What? What? So when the Torah is looking for the ring. The Torah is looking for the ring, and the Torah can't find the ring. So the ring represents the deepest connection. The ring represents the deepest place with which our soul is supposed to connect to the Torah, and the Keser Torah, and the king. The Torah is looking for this Keser Torah. They're looking for this element of connection, and he can't find it. He can't find it, and Rabbi Nachman doesn't explain this obviously, but I imagine that the reason why he can't find it is because they aren't so together anymore. That because she started sleeping, because she's been she wasn't 100% into this relationship anymore. So that's why he can't find it. And the Torah himself gets turned on by the neshama, and when she was madly in love with him, when they were together, when they were at the peak of their love, then the Torah was able to say, "Here, I have a ring for you." But if she's not there, then he's also not there, and the Torah is actually less exciting. The Torah is actually less exciting when the daughter of the emperor is a little bit sleepy, okay? And this is a crazy thing. That it's something that anybody that's learned Torah knows this. That you can have the same idea, that the very same idea, that one day is just boring as heck, and the next day is just fascinating, and nothing changed. Nothing changed. The Torah didn't change. The ideas didn't change. The arguments didn't change. The only thing that changed is you. That when my soul is thirsty for Torah, then Torah becomes interesting. Then Torah becomes exciting. And that's this ring, the Keser Torah, this deep connection. That when you have a soul that's thirsty for the Torah, then the Torah gets all excited. Then the Torah gets exciting, and it's 100%. It's like fireworks. Then the Torah needs the soul in order to be exciting. Okay, so So in other words, like it's actually a two-way street. It's actually a two-way street. That the Torah is helping us. The Torah is helping us by giving us direction. But we're also helping the Torah. That when we have this excitement, when we have this thirst for Torah, so then the Torah actually becomes more interesting, becomes more exciting. And it's able to present a ring. It's able to present this Kesef Torah. It's able to present this deep wisdom, this aura, this just fireworks of excitement, of depth that it wasn't able to produce before. And it's just an amazing thing about Torah that how sweet the Torah is going to be is dependent on how much of a vessel you have. There's very interesting idea that Chaim Shmulevitz would say. It says by Yaakov and Esav that Esav was the firstborn and the Bechorah in those times. So the Bechorah represented being the Jewish people. It represented having a connection with God. So Esav one day was very tired, and he found Yaakov was making lentil soup, and he said, Yaakov, give me from your lentil soup. And he says, I'll give you lentil soup, but only if you sell me the birthright. Only if you sell me the birthright. I want to be the future of the Jewish people. So he said, okay, I'll do it. Yalla. So they made a deal, and that's how we Jews became Jews. We bought it from Esav for a bowl of lentil soup. Okay, the Rishonim already asked interesting questions on this transaction that transpired, and they say, one of the questions that they ask is that there's a halacha called ona'ah. Ona'ah means that, we've discussed this in Shiva a couple of times, that ona'ah means that it's actually that it's forbidden to manipulate with the price. Okay, you're not allowed to sell something you're not allowed to convince somebody to sell something for less than the actual price. If I notice that you have a very rare dollar, okay, that this dollar, because of its rarity, is actually worth $1,000, and I say, whoa, yeah, that's a very pretty dollar you have, I'll pay you $5 for that. And I say, sure, I don't think it's so pretty, so I'd prefer $5. And then he posts on Facebook that he just got this $1,000 dollar that's very priceless, whatever, and so somebody tells you, like, do you know this guy? He's from your city. Like, oh my gosh, I sold him that. Oh, and so the halacha is that you can go back and you can undo the deal. That because the actual value is $1,000 and you just didn't realize that, so that's sufficient reason to just renege. Okay, the halacha is if it's more than a sixth of the price, so then it's not fair, and the sale is invalid. Okay, same thing with if some person overprices. Person, if you're just not aware of the prices, you're new in Israel, and you think that it's normal that somebody sells you a bottle of water for 50 shekel, or go to the kotel for 100 shekel, and so then if it's more than a sixth the price off, so then the halacha is that the transaction is not valid. Okay, so the Rishonim ask that how could this transaction be valid? Esav afterwards he regretted it, right? When he got the bracha, so then he cried out a big cry, and he regretted selling this birthright. So he asked, how could it be valid? How could it be a valid transaction? It should be aina. It should be aina because it was completely underrated, completely sold for way less than it's worth. It's priceless. It's priceless because he sold it for a bowl of soup. So Chaim Shmulevitz said something so beautiful that when it comes to spirituality, so something is actually only worth as much as you appreciate it. Okay, so how valuable is Shabbos? You know how valuable Shabbos is? It depends how much you appreciate it. If you appreciate Shabbos, then Shabbos is priceless. If you don't appreciate Shabbos, then Shabbos is worthless. If you want to know how valuable is being a Jew, how valuable is it to being a Jew? So if you appreciate being a Jew, so it's priceless. If for you being a Jew is worth a bowl of soup, so your Judaism is worth a bowl of soup. and like the fact that we appreciate something, that's what gives it value. That's what gives it value. It's not a crazy thing. It's so if how much we appreciate what we do, how much we appreciate the mitzvahs that we perform, so that's how valuable they are. So if for you your davening is so valuable that if somebody would offer you 20 shekel to shorten your davening a little bit, that to the point that it's not going to be such a real davening. So then how valuable is your shachris? That means your shachris is actually worth 20 shekel. So this is this crazy thing that in everything spiritual, that the value of the spirituality is actually dependent on how much it's appreciated, how much we have this neshama, how much we have this daughter of the emperor that's loving the Torah, that's appreciating the Torah, and based on her appreciation, that's how awesome and exciting the Torah is actually going to be. So that's why that when she wasn't so interested, when she wasn't so with it, so then the Torah couldn't find the ring. He didn't have this flair anymore. He didn't have this excitement. He didn't have this fireworks. Now, you had a question? Something was bothering you?
No, it's just I really like that comment about davening and value, because there's no like, I'm thinking about it for myself. Like, no one could offer me any amount of money that would make me not wrap to fill in one day. Like, even on a day where I wasn't going to wrap to fill in anyway because I was going to miss that day, for whatever reason, if someone came to me and offered money for me not to wrap to fill in that day, I would go and wrap that day.
Yeah.
I don't want to take us off topic, but what is the significance of lentil soup?
Oh, I don't know.
I raised my hand.
Yeah. I mean, there is significance, but it's not the topic right now.
So when you say that, like, if your shachris is worth 20 shekel, maybe it's worth 20 shekel, but what happens if 20 shekel is worth $1,000 to you? So, like, if you have a very low income, not a low income, or a high income, or a high outcome, or something, so it's like that 20 shekel actually is worth a lot for you, but you still pay for it. Does that count?
I mean, it is what it is. Like 5,000 shekel. I mean, I don't know exactly. I don't know what you mean. That 20 shekel is worth 5,000 shekel for you.
I mean, like if you ask a beggar on the street for $20.
If you ask
if you ask a beggar on the street who maybe makes, I don't know, $50 a day, maybe if he's begging on the street, let's say, so then $20 is actually quite a.
I think you should take some courses.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should take some courses or get a better job. I think professional beggars can make more than.
I don't mean that as a profession. I mean, if you take something, or if it's worth 20 shekel is worth not a lot to you, but it's worth a lot to somebody else, then maybe that's better.
That'll make. I mean, but the point is that we should appreciate that our mitzvahs are actually priceless. Okay.
Even if everybody's like asleep or
and
still do it.
we should appreciate the fact. We should be conscious of the fact that every time that we do a mitzvah, it's $1 million. Right? And this is one of the commentaries on the. There's a pasuk in Megillas Esther that Leyehudim Haisa Erev Simcha V'Sasan V'Yikar, that they had that they had that Sasa and Simcha, they had happiness and rejoicing. V'oira v'simcha, light, v'ikar. And there's a ikar, so sometimes is translated as splendor, but the word yakar comes from the word yakar. It comes from the word value. Something which is, there's a midah yakar, it's too expensive, something expensive. So there's a commentary that says that the yoker of the mitzvah, that it means that they saw the value, they saw the pricelessness of every mitzvah. That they saw the light in the mitzvah, they saw the happiness in the mitzvahs, and they saw the pricelessness of the mitzvahs. That they were able to see, appreciate how valuable their avodas Hashem was. Okay? And then, like if a person wakes up in the morning and for him, like to be able to put on tefillin is like $1 million. So then I'm a millionaire. Like I don't. Whatever happens the rest of the day, I got $1 million today. I'm so good. I got the Daven Shachris too, $2 million. You know, and if I look at the value of mitzvahs, if I look at the value of, and it's everything I do. If I look at the value of the good things, the good decisions, the good interactions that I have, if I value them, so then I'm always going to be happy. And how much I value them, that's how much they're worth. Okay, that if I'm going to go about, if I'm going to go towards my Torah class with the intention that yes, this is worth $1,000 to me. This is worth $1,000 to me. And then when I'm going there, if I'm feeling like I'm getting $1,000 richer, then I'm going to be more present. I'm going to be more excited. I'm going to come out. You know, there was once Rabbi Yochanan had this that he walked over to he was the Rosh Yeshiva and the Meir Yeshiva in Poland, and he was also so there was once he went over to a student, and it was a very strange interaction. He said, I don't understand. Why do you think it makes sense that? Why do you think it makes sense that I teach you every day and you don't pay? You think it makes sense that you get Torah, you get free wisdom for free? Where do you get wisdom for free? So the student didn't know where this was going. So he said, do you want to come to the class tonight? So he says, yeah, I want to come to class tonight. Okay, if you want to come to class tonight, you have to pay me. You have to pay me, I don't know what he said, you have to pay me $5. So the kid was he was embarrassed. He was embarrassed to say that I don't want to pay $5. So he paid the rabbi $5, but he came out of this okay rabbi, whatever you want, and feeling really weird that he had to pay $5, and then he came to the class, and after the class. So Rabbi Yochanan, he motioned to him and he said, "Here, come. I want to speak to you." And he said, "Here, I want to give you back your $5. Let me explain that when I prepared this class, so the entire class was built around you. That because based on different conversations we've been having over the past couple of weeks." That I realized exactly what you need to hear, exactly the wisdom that you're lacking, and this entire class was perfectly designed for everything you need. And I was thinking to myself, but what happens if he's spacing out? I painstakingly created this class. I wrote this class because this is exactly what he needs, and he might just need to go to the bathroom, or he might just be thinking about something else. So how do I get him to make sure that he's going to hear? So that's why I went over to you and I told you to pay for it, because once you paid $5, then you want to get your money's worth, right? But Chas v'Shalom, I would never want to take your money, and this is that was completely not my intention. So when you pay for something, so then you appreciate it, right? I had that once once there was a person like in yeshiva, so they would make copies of the shir, but if you wanted a copy of the shir, you had to pay a shekel. Okay, so like somebody explained that it's like it's like they're not making money. They're like it costs 5 shekel per pamphlet. Like they're losing money on it. It's just that if you pay a shekel for something, then you value it a little bit. But then like you're not gonna pay a shekel if you don't have any you don't have any interest in reading it. Like sometimes you'll just take things just because they're there, just because it's free. If anybody ever did recruiting with flyers, so if you just give somebody a flyer, then I would give somebody a flyer and they would say thank you, and they would literally right in front of me, they would throw it in the garbage, and so the how much you value something, that's mamish. It makes your mitzvah more valuable. Okay, so this is what Rabbi Nachman is saying over here, that because she wasn't there, because there wasn't this excitement, because the neshama wasn't there to appreciate the mitzvah, to appreciate the Torah, so the Torah was actually not there. It didn't have his ring anymore. It didn't have his shine anymore. It didn't have his excitement anymore. And that's why he wasn't able to find the ring. Okay, so now they get very lost. Now they get very lost, and so it says he didn't have anything to do there. So he became a servant, and she also became lost, and she decided to go and sit by the sea. So she went to the shore, and there were fruit trees there. She sat there, and in the day she would walk by the sea, hoping to find ships passing by. She lived off the fruits, and at night she climbed up the trees to be protected from the wild animals. Okay, so this is the next. This is as far as we're getting today. The next week we'll start with her different prospective husbands that she meets, but now this is how they find themselves lost on this island. And there's a difference between the way that the son of the king finds himself and the way that the daughter of the emperor finds herself. So he becomes a servant. She doesn't become a servant. She just pines. She's waiting. She's waiting by the sea. She's hoping that somehow she'll be able to get back to the sea. Meaning that she really wants to be on the sea, and he really wants to be on land. Okay, and what does that mean? So she is the soul. She's the neshama, and he is the Torah. So the Torah really wants to be on dry land. The Torah really wants to be, probably just the prime minister. The Torah really wants to be on dry land, because when the Torah is in dry land, so then that's when it's actualized. And the Torah is yearning to be present in the physical world. Okay, whereas the soul really wants to be in the sea. The soul really wants to be in the beyond. The soul doesn't like being in this physical world. The soul, it wants to be able to transcend the physical reality and be able to be in the higher realms. The soul doesn't enjoy being here. The Torah wants to be here. So because the soul loves the Torah, that's why the soul agrees to be down in this world. But it's really, if you would ask the soul, would you rather be here on earth, or would you rather be up in heaven? So the soul would rather be up in heaven. The Torah wants to be down on earth, because that's how it's able to express its values, that's able to express its goodness. And because the soul loves the Torah so much, that's why the soul agrees to be down in this world. But really, the soul is yearning for the sea, and the Torah is yearning for the land. Now, being on the land. So what does he do? So the Torah becomes a servant. Okay, what's it mean for the Torah to become a servant? It means that if the Torah is not serving the soul, so it's actually not in its place. It's actually that's not what it was meant for. For the Torah to do anything besides being the expression of the soul, is actually it's a messed up reality. It's not what it was meant to be. It's not what his essence is. So he's called a slave. And the Torah can find himself in many different situations not serving the soul, not connecting, not turning on the soul, when he's not with his lover, when he's not with the infinite neshama, so he does stuff. He does stuff. He could be Torah can be you can make a PhD out of Torah. You can become a doctor. Okay, you can write books. You can write books. You can be a bestseller. You can make podcasts. You can have a YouTube channel. You can become very popular, and you can become a rabbi. You can get a nice salary. You can make you can get married. I know a girl told me that it was worth it. It was worth it to become religious, just for the shidduch system. Everybody else seems to think that the shidduch system is the pit, but she was like she couldn't stand this culture that you have to just go to the parties and wait for the boy to ask you out, and finally the shadchan does that for you. So yay, finally. I love Torah. I love Torah because now it's easy. My dating life is much easier.
Just exactly what you say. So I was just offered a shidduch recently, and I inquired about the girl, and it turned out that she's not religious at all. So I said the shadchan, it seems that probably it's not such a good fit. But she said it's no problem. She can become religious. No problem.
Yeah. So that's what happens when the Torah becomes a servant. It's mamish. Now it's better for the Torah to become a servant. The Torah didn't kill himself. He didn't kill himself. And the Torah knows that it's better for me to be a servant, better for me not to be my true self, than to not exist at all. At least if I exist at all, at least one day I'll find my love. I'll be able to be my real me again. Okay? Because anything's better than giving up. Okay? So the Torah was willing to become a servant rather than stopping to exist. Now, back to the princess, back to the daughter of the emperor. So she didn't become a servant. She could not. She could not do anything. She could not do anything besides think of being with her beloved. Think of being with the Torah, and so she finds a tree. She's looking onto the sea, and she finds the tree. And what's the tree do? She lives on the fruit of the tree. She's able to survive on the fruits of the tree, and she's able to climb on the tree. She's able to climb on the tree in order to save her from the wild, dangerous things. So what does the tree represent? What does the tree represent? So the tree is also a representation of the Torah. Eitz chayim hi l'machazikim ba. The Torah is compared to a tree of life. Torah is called a tree of life, meaning that a person could have a relationship with the Torah, which is a relationship of a lover, and that's the ideal. But even when you can't have a relationship with the Torah as your lover, but there's also a relationship with the Torah, which is a lower level of relationship, that it's my nourishment. Okay, that it's going to be my tree. It's going to be my tree, and so what's it doing for me? So it's helping me eat. It's helping me have nourishment. I'm not going to starve to death, and it's going to save me from the dangerous things. Okay, so this is a lower level of connection to Torah that the Baal HaTanya writes. The Baal HaTanya writes in the end of Perek Hey, I believe, that the Torah is called lechem. The Torah is called mazon. It's something that nourishes you. Okay, the Torah gives you nourishment that you shouldn't die. That your soul, when you're connected to Torah, so it just your soul doesn't die because it just needs this constant nourishment, and it saves you from messing up. Okay, because of the direction of the Torah, because it's telling you how not to mess up in life, and all the things that if you follow them, they're going to just lead you to a worse than a dead end, to a pit, to different jails and different the horrible endings that that the Torah is this advisor, is this thing that's helping you, it's saving you, that you shouldn't get eaten by the wild animals. And if you're gonna follow the Torah even to a basic degree, so then you're not gonna completely mess up your life. Okay, that's a lower level. That's a lower level of relationship to the Torah. So that you're not dying. It's giving you nourishment. Your soul is not dead. Your soul is not dead. It's far from fulfilled. Far from satisfied. Far from being on fire. But it's not dead, because the Torah is giving me something. And number two, it's saving me from death. It's saving me from danger. Okay, and this is how she's pining. She's pining for having the Torah as a lover. She's pining. She's wishing that she could be on the sea, wishing that she could have this deeper relationship with the Torah that's going to be just forever, that's together forever, but because she messed up, because she fell asleep, so that's not going to be the reality right now. And the rest of the story is going to be how she's going to build herself up in order to return to this passionate, intimate, fiery relationship with the Torah. So stay tuned for next week. B'ezrat Hashem.